Hello, my loves. Welcome to my podcast, Love Always. I'm your presenter, Love, and I'll be bringing you short teachings on self-development and growth mindset practices. We are on episode 6, and in today's episode, I will be going through wants and aspirations. But before we start, I just want to say a big thank you for everyone locking in and doing the inner work. I appreciate it. And if you would like to just join me in a short prayer, you know, the usual, so I can charge up and bring on the higher vibrations so that we have love through this episode. So please join me. Thank you. Thank you, higher power be, for bringing me here today, filling me up with your love, being able to share my experience and help others. I pray that everyone receives their wants and aspirations and has faith in themselves to receive it. Thank you. I appreciate you. Bless. Okay, so before we get into the following segments, I would like you to just go over the teaching task that I set for you last episode, where I asked you to make notes on how you pour self-love into your mind, body, and soul at once. And what I would like you to do is just take the moment to congratulate yourself, or if possibly reward yourself for acknowledging your inner being, pouring self-love into your inner being and doing the work on your inner being. Well done, congratulations. In segment 1, Share Your Path, I will be sharing my experience of receiving some of my wants and aspirations. In last episode, I spoke about how I connected my mind, body, and soul at once. And what I'm going to do in this episode is continue on with my journey and go back to when I mastered that and then what happened next. So what happened was I focused on my wants and aspirations once I was able to form a vision of my higher self through connecting my mind, body, and soul. And I was then reminded at how easy it is to forget your wants and your aspirations and your big dreams, and how easy it is to stop working towards receiving them. So what I'm going to do is just share my path, as I said, from the start of my spiritual journey, when I started to gain some awareness of the mind. And I remember having a conversation with my mum one day. We were talking about my career. At the time, I wasn't an entrepreneur as yet. I was, however, working for someone else in an employed role at a school, in a role that I felt that I could no longer go back to. The capacity of the environment and everything else I knew no longer aligned with me, and I was starting to feel a bit lost. It was still during the grieving process, and I was still finding my way. And I remember just opening up and sharing this with my mum, and she, with full encouragement, with love, said to me, why don't you start your own business or do something for yourself? And my mum's always that person who encourages and supports me and sees things that sometimes I don't see for myself. Because at that time when she said that, I thought, start a business in what could I possibly start a business in? How do I start a business? And for me, not having that self-worth meant that I knew that I didn't obviously see myself as an asset as yet. And I also didn't have that growth mindset developed as yet. So I didn't feel like that was something that I could achieve, I could aspire, even though I had all of the experience, qualifications, and credentials behind me. However, through awareness and developing that in the mind, I was starting to see signs and notice things throughout my days. And something that I really wanted to do was I wanted to just start writing a journal or a diary. I had little journals, books to help me, and I shared one a few episodes, but I wanted to just write with my hand, with a pen. And I remember going into my old box of things, trying to look for a notepad that had some spare paper, and I actually came across a notepad. So I started to go through it, and the first few pages were dated, and I noticed that I started to use it as a diary. And then I stopped. And in the following few pages after stopping using it as a diary, I dated a page where I had started to complete an activity. And I believe it was an activity from a self-development book, help book, which possibly could have been The Secret at the time. And it asked me to, well, what I did was write down 3 wants and aspirations as if I had already received them. So I read back what I'd written down. And the first want and aspiration that I had written down was along the lines of to earn a certain amount of money in the career of a teacher that I was in, and to be promoted in a higher paid role within the teaching career. And as I was reading it back, I realized that I was actually in a higher paid role within the teaching career. And I was actually earning more than I had wanted and written down at the time. And I couldn't believe that actually my first want and aspiration I had received. But then I thought back and I realized I had received it because I put in so much hard work to aspire to get there. It's what I was just focused on. And for me, when I also kind of thought back at that time, things aligned very quickly and easily for me in terms of how I got the job, in terms of being promoted once. However, as I read the other 2 aspirations, which I had not received as yet at that time, so the second aspiration that I had written down didn't quite surprise me because it was something that I knew that I wanted, but just didn't want enough to work towards aspiring to receive it. But the last aspiration, the third one that I'd written down, really surprised me because it said along the lines of, I am a businesswoman with a service that is helping young people, children, especially those with special educational needs. And I couldn't believe that I had written down such an aspiration because I didn't think that I wanted to become a businesswoman, that I had that as a dream or an aspiration to achieve. And along the lines, obviously, I clearly did have that, but self-doubt or whatever took over, and that removed my focus of achieving it. So what I would like to do is just read self-doubt to you, and a bit about self-doubt from this book. So it's a daily book, which I've spoken about before. Oh gosh. So I'm going to get to October the 12th. I've lost the page now, but I'm going to get it quickly. So October 12th is the date today. And it says, I will realize my own worth when I accept my worthiness exactly as I am right now. Self-worth requires more than repeating flowery affirmations to convince yourself that you believe certain things about yourself. Self-worth is not a byproduct of others' opinions about you or your ability and your abilities. Self-worth is an understanding on the intellectual level, trusting at the heart level, and accepting at the soul level that you are worthy just because you believe that you are. When you understand what a gift it is to be alive, you will know that you are worthy. Once you understand that you can trust yourself to be a unique expression of life, you will feel worthy. Once you feel worthy and accept that you are not a mistake, that you have a right to be who you are, exactly as you are, you will believe that you are worthy. So I skipped a bit and I've missed bits, but please do get this book. I just wanted to show you and share with you how self-worth is important, and how if you don't see yourself as an asset or a value, how you can limit your being's wants and aspirations. Sorry. Okay, I'm really conscious because I did a whole episode and the mic went. Anyway, so moving on. So again, I followed the practice after reading that and being reminded, I then followed another practice from a self-help book, which again told me to write down 3 wants and aspirations, or maybe more than that, but I wrote down wants and aspirations that I wanted to achieve as if I was in the form of my higher being. And when I did this practice, I was honest with myself because I obviously knew that it had worked from being reminders from the notebook and receiving the one around my career at the time as a teacher. So this time I wrote out wants and aspirations, and I felt myself in the core of my higher being. I felt myself being in a natural temperament, knowing who I am. Naturally, my temperament is soft, is loving, and I just went back into that, and I removed all labels and everything else that put self-doubt onto me. And I remember, because it told you to read it, that what you had written down back to yourself 3 times as if you had already received it. And when I read what I'd written down back to myself, I was so happy with what I'd written down, because it was something that I would never have thought my former self would have wanted. It was pushing myself to the highest and peak of it all. So after that, and I'm not sure of the time frame, but it was within the same kind of short amount of time, I did a visualized guided meditation for the first time. So last week I spoke about doing it the second time and what happened, but the first time that I did a visualized guided meditation, I formed my first amazing business idea, which, I kid you not, kinds of within education, helping children and young people and families, especially those with special educational needs. So I had unlocked the aspiration and want that I'd written down for myself years ago and forgot about. And through that guided meditation, visualized meditation, I was able to form a vision, which then got me to write a business plan and set up a company, which I knew that my higher self and being wanted. And from that day forward, I have led the path which has brought me here today as an entrepreneur. So once I let go of my former career of a teacher that I was in for more than 10 years, even though I worked my way up and I loved the role and I loved everything about it, it was hard work, but I let go of that with no fear, with no doubt. And I just had faith as I entered an exciting, rewarding, challenging, but progressive career as a businesswoman. And by following my true heart's desires and wants and aspirations, I believe that everything came to me with ease because of that, just like it did with my first want and aspiration of building my career as a teacher. So what I would like you to do, please, is just a quick self-doubt check. And I would like you to remove self-doubt by honestly asking yourself, are you aware of your natural temperament, your natural being, what it wants and its aspirations for your higher self? And how well do you know the true you? Segment 2, deep-rooted work. In this segment, deep-rooted work, I will be providing you with a short teaching activity to do, and I would like you to complete it over the week as you notice the changes or any actions that you would like to implement or make. So when you list your good habits, think of yourself being in your higher former self, which you obviously are working towards each day with divine timing. And then when you are writing out the changes that you would like to make, please think of yourself in your current shoes, and think of the habits that you want to change that will bring you closer to being in your higher self. Thank you. So moving on to segment 3, care package. This segment is a little bit different. Usually I share a book. Last episode I shared 3 different things, resources, not just a book. And this segment I am going to be doing something a little bit different. However, once I formed my first business idea, I wanted to give back. I just felt the urge to give back, not in terms of the service of my business, but just doing something different that I've never done before. And one of the powerful ways that I did this was by raising money for cancer research, doing a 5K run. So I did the Race for Life 5K run, and I did it within a short amount of time. I raised money over the initial target that I said, and I felt that it was the first part of the grieving process and journey that really helped me. I was able to raise awareness and do something for my auntie and granddaughter, as they both passed away from the same cancer. But also I was able to give back to a community in a different way and support in a platform that I haven't done before. So again, everything aligns. And this week I've come across a great cause that my friend is raising in support of helping the homeless. So on the 20th of December, there will be a community bike ride where essential items will be handed out to the homeless. There is an Amazon link which is in help to support getting the essential items. And the things on the Amazon list start from as little as £1. If you would like to take part, I will put the Amazon link in the description of this episode with more information. Thank you. Moving into segment 4, Cleanse Your Soul, I would like to quickly ask if you would like to be part of the mailing list, please email lovealwaysuk@hotmail.com, and I'll be, you can just write join mailing list. It's fine, don't have to send me a long message, but it's just to get me to know that you want to take part. And I will then be sharing monthly newsletters along with other exciting and fun things, especially as when the season is over, the episodes will come to an end soon and there'll be a break. I would like to keep giving and sharing things with you, but also I want to hear your voice and thoughts, which will help in the following episodes. So thank you in advance. Okay, so now we're going to end with our short breathing exercise, and then I would like you to guide yourself into a self-meditation for 5 minutes. Those of you who are experienced at meditating, please do 14 minutes. Thank you. So just take a moment to close your eyes or look down, whatever you feel comfortable with doing. And I'd like you to please drop your shoulders or relax your arms. So breathe in, self-love, and breathe out, self-sabotage. And repeat this 3 times, and then guide yourself into a meditation. I'm going to end here. Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. I will see you next week for episode 7. Thank you. Bye for now. Love always. Whoop, whoop, whoop.